We want to take a few moments to honor one of our own who died yesterday after a battle with cancer. Jim Mastri was an incredible and dedicated photojournalist here at ABC7. And of the many stories you saw on your screen, many were brought to you by this unsung hero in Chicago and around the globe.
Here's our Mark Rivera with a lasting legacy of our friend, Jim Mastri.
Looking at this photo of Jim Mastri from his senior year of high school, you can see journalism and television were part and parcel of Jim since childhood.
Television was in his blood early on. It was in his blood, and he was the best at what he did.
His wife of 29 years, Michelle, telling us today that Jim loved this job. It's all he wanted to do, always pushing to advance the story, innovate, and encourage.
When I knew I was assigned to him, it was like this sigh of relief.
There was a fight with reporters over who was going to work with Jim. Now, they didn't call him Jim, they called him Mastri. When they were trying to get assigned to him, I want Mastri.
Mastri covered the 2008 Democratic National Convention where Barack Obama gained the nomination, traveled to Copenhagen for Chicago's bid for the Olympics, Italy with Alan Krzyzewski and Cardinal Blaise Cupich, covering popes at home and abroad, a reporting trip to Cuba, the 2016 Cubs World Series win, catching this $1 million shot of the solar eclipse in 2017, and so much more.
He gave you something to aspire to without, I don't think, realizing that's what he was doing. He was a very humble person. It's sad he's not going to be here.
In a world where it can be so difficult to see another person's point of view, Jim provided. He showed us the world through his lens, his own unique perspective, bringing it to the Chicago community we all serve. We saw through his eyes and laughed aloud at his humor.
Jim's sense of humor was really dry and really sarcastic.
You knew if you got sarcasm out of Jim, you were in a good place with him.
He was known for his creativity, style, and commitment to excellence, but Jim was more than a colleague you knew you could unwaveringly rely on. He was also a friend to so many.
In a very humble way, in a very dedicated way, he brought his very best to the job every single day, and all of us were better because of that.
Such a kind soul, too. I mean, he inspired confidence.
I love him like a brother. He's my friend, and I'm going to miss him dearly.
More than a coworker, he was a friend. He was a brother to me.
Wherever you are, buddy, you know, watch over us, and God bless you.
He was a storyteller, and he loved telling stories. He just didn't speak with his mouth. He did it with his camera. He did it with the lighting. He did it with editing the stories and putting the pieces together. That's where his magic was.
And you just see how much Jim Mastri meant to all of us here at ABC7. We're going to miss him every single day. A consummate journalist, an even better friend. He's survived by his wife Michelle and sons Michael and Nicholas, and all of our love goes out to his family right now.
Yeah,
we love him. We miss him. I mean, the last year, especially during all of the coverage that we had on the war in Ukraine and locally because of our Ukrainian community, I was able to spend almost, a year working with him basically every day, and you do feel that brotherly connection to him.
He was so multi-talented. You mentioned the World Series, and I remember he was my photographer for Game 7, and the Cubs are up 6-3, and our job is to get on the field and get reaction when the game ends. And we're thinking this is a done deal. And so we get in the elevator from the press box, and we turn around, and Mayor Rahm Emanuel is standing there. And Rahm doesn't look at me. He looks right at Jim, and he says, "You guys made it from Chicago." Jim used to cover City Hall a lot.
Yeah, of course.
And the mayor of Chicago at that moment recognized Jim Mastri. And I'll never forget it.
Yep.
So many great stories. This is a tough one for the entire newsroom.
Really
a lot of people talking about Jim's smile, his body of work, which is evidence in your piece. Want to share with Jim's entire family that our thoughts are with you, and thank you really for sharing his talents with us all of these years.
Yeah, the personal story's great, Mark.
Love you, Jim.
Yeah, glad you shared.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.